That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm,
The articulate and intelligent.
Greg's a bitch. That's all.
I find them offensive as hell.
I've never been a fan.
Yeah, fuck that.
Terrible! Bad! Not bad! Oh, pretty good. Okay. Decent. Fair. Great. I love this.
This sucks.
Yeah, you really gotta wonder how the stuff gets made.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Today we're going to cover all things this weekend, but we'll tap into and talk about the Landon Donovan interview. But Greg Berhalter on the Germany loss. I think you found some stuff that he said about that. But I did want to say today on the way home, listening to the radio, I got to listen to. You remember this song? I Want Candy. Remember that? I want candy. Do. You remember what the name of that band?
No.
Bow, wow, wow. Like a dog, like your dog in the back there. The one that's dead and stuffed.
Let's see if I can guess right. Here we go.
Yeah.
It's a good buddy. It's a good buddy.
Yeah, and I was thinking, okay, what's a stupider name for a band than that? And I thought, Kaji Gugu came straight to my head. That was a horrible name for a band.
Chumbawamba.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad too. Chumbawamba. I don't even know what the fuck that means. All this nonsense words for Kaji Gugu might mean something. I don't know if it does.
I would wager it probably does.
Okay. Also, another shark attack in Australia within the week. Guy got hit by a 15 footer out in, what was the Streaking Bay. I guess a lot of naked people on that beach.
Yeah. Ironically, you got to wear a full suit to the beach.
Yeah. Well,
like the 1920s bathing suits, like the one piece even for dudes.
Yeah, I remember those. No, I didn't wear them. No, I wasn't alive back then, but I do know what you're talking about. But it kind of reminded me this attack of the Simon, I can't remember his Nellist guy he and his wife were a part of that Malabar Magic Ocean race where you swim with 50, 100 others. It's a race out like off the coast of Australia. Like, does anybody think that's fucking safe to race in a race off the coast of Australia? I mean, that's where all the attacks happen. It's like the most,
like South Africa, the East Coast
of
America now, West Coast of America.
Well,
great whites everywhere.
Australia and South Africa are way worse than the United States.
100%.
So, and this Nellis guy went out for just a swim. He was a practice swim. And the worst part is that they caught it on camera. Like, it's one of those ones that's been caught on camera by there were guys fishing. Like, okay, that's smart. Go swim in front of the guys fishing, right?
Yeah.
And they were even talking to each other like, that's probably not a good idea, because there could be bait out there. Yeah. So, yeah, they filmed it. They couldn't do anything about it. Shit, I wouldn't have swam out there. And anyhow, one of your favorite bands is coming to Indianapolis, 3 Doors Down. And they're coming.
I necessarily classify them as one of my favorites by name, but I certainly do have their first album.
Oh, Brett, don't even tell me that. I don't want to know that.
Yeah.
They're horrible. I mean, that's one of the worst bands ever. Well,
you're being a little hyperbolic there, man. One of the worst.
It is one of the worst. From that era, I couldn't stand that band. That and Creed. Just look who they're paired up with in this tour. Creed. Does that tell you everything you need to know?
How many bands from that era are currently touring that would fit?
You'd have to pick another ultimately stomach-churning, vomit-inducing band, and they picked Creed. I thought that singer was dead, that Creed guy. I guess you just find another guy that tries to sing like Eddie Vedder.
He found Jesus again, I guess.
I thought he died. And then we got the next. Go ahead.
I was going to say, before we jump off too far off the music here, the chat did come up with some other horrible names of bands.
Oh, okay. Let's see them. Milli Vanilli. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that even means. They didn't even sing their own stuff. I know. I've always said that, Turd. I've always said I hate the name of my band. I hated it. I just wanted to change it. I'd rather it just be my name than Brando. But you know what? You do stupid things in college, and then you have to live with them. And we did after we'd already established.
Hey, at least you only picked Brando because Butthole Surfers were already taken.
Right, definitely. And we thought Butthole Liquors was too flagrant.
Bare Naked Ladies was gone as well. At least that's in the right direction.
It's another band to make me want to vomit. Oh shit! I'm late. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Roster release day is near. Who will get called in? We told you already. I don't know, but I do know my wife was pregnant with her boss's baby. She works for Greg.
I actually have her employee picture. You want to see?
Oh yeah. Let's I thought I saw that on Twitter today. My cunt is itchy.
Yep.
Or would that be McCunt?
McCunt.
McCunt?
McCunt. McCunt is she's Scottish, actually. You never knew that.
I don't know what that name would be. It sounds like it could be North. Is that a real person, you think? Did you look this up?
No, no, I've not. I don't. It's God. There was a news broadcast when they're talking about
the plane crash.
The plane crashes, and you know, of course, it's like in like I forgot. I can't even think of one of the names that they came up with, but obviously it was the spoof off of like the Middle Eastern names,
right?
You know, and
Asian names.
Yeah, and it was Asian. Well, you're right. It was Asian names. You're right. Absolutely was, because it was the one that disappeared.
Right. And all of the photos were fake, and all the names attached to the photos were fake. Bang! That was one of them. Ding! Ow! Bang! Ding! Low. I don't think that's how they spelled the low part. Probably I think it was WIETULO. We too low. Holy fuck.
BMR's on it.
I remember that. I do remember
there was
that.
the other one. Something Wong.
That's right. Something Wong. Yeah, oh my God, yeah. That was a classic. I hope that clip's out there still somewhere.
Absolutely is, yeah.
Yeah. Also,
I mean come on, what was that newscast even thinking? Somebody had to look at that and go like, wait a second.
When you're reading the teleprompter, right? Sometimes when it's your job, you're not conscious of even what's coming out of your mouth. You're just reading the teleprompter.
Well, that was a joke with Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
Who put a question mark in there? Ron will read anything that's on the teleprompter.
Right. Exactly.
But somebody has to put it on the teleprompter, though. So I mean, somebody had to look at that and go like, really?
Right. Yeah.
Before we get too much further into it, Derek, cover your screen.
Okay.
I want to bring up Mitch's new bingo cards here.
I'm gonna cover the screen.
He's even got a prize for it.
I'm gonna cover the screen with my cock. Is that gonna work?
It's fair.
It's so big, it just blocks out.
Derek, we can't see it. Huh. All right, so Mitch here goes bingo. Winner gets camera footage of Miazga dog kick.
Ooh.
I said Mitch has the evidence. Here's numero uno.
Right.
Well, Derek says cunt. That one's already taken.
Did I already say cunt today?
Yeah, ma cunt. Remember?
Oh, not really though. That was part of her name. Yeah, but
that plays the joke into it, right?
I get it, but that's just her name.
Fair. Here's number 3.
May count.
And numero 4. All right, you're good.
That's kind of like when I ordered my phone. That's what I thought it's called, right? So maybe it is called my phone. No, I think it's Mayphone. So I go to pick up my Mayphone, shrimp Mayphone, my phone. That's what I was calling it. She said, "Okay, what was your order?" Shrimp Mayphone. She goes, Mayphone? I go, my phone. She said, no, Mayphone. She just wanted to make sure I knew how to pronounce the damn word. I'm like, so it's not my phone. She said, no, my phone. Mayphone.
Me fun.
No. If you saw the spelling, I don't think you'd think that. What I don't know what you're drinking, and by the way, I'm drinking a Chimay. There it is.
I got my 100 proof of Evan Williams here.
Chimay Premier. Evan Williams.
The
Nice.
vodka Sprite.
Okay, I toast you then. This thing's got
Roast.
it's got a nice head. That's what she said.
What she said.
hmm Okay, good. Next Goal Wins, the movie about Thomas Rongen's time on American Samoa.
Yep.
I know that movie's supposed to be a comedy, but they really make people of American Samoa look pretty fucking stupid and goofy in the commercials and fat. Half the team is fat.
Mhm. Yeah.
How does that work? I'm sure that's
Drinking
not what-
lots of coconut water.
I get it, but no, what? Why? You know that's not true, right? That's not. But
No.
it's not a documentary. I guess it's a comedy in the Cool Runnings sort of.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. All right.
I actually showed you that preview like a year ago when it was first announced.
Yeah.
We didn't do it on the show because we didn't want to get pegged. But
Right. I wish they would have done it about anybody but Thomas Rongen, who has got to be one of the least favorite people out there in soccer punditry.
Somebody in this camp had to pitch it.
Well, I'm
Hey,
sure.
Vaca went to this island and got them slammed in qualification. They got their first goal ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice little story, but it's not like Cool Runnings or anything. Like they're never going to compete in the World Cup. Like at least the Jamaican bobsled team competed in the Olympics. If Derek doesn't like fat people, I am a fat person. Derek body shaming Samoans. No, that's what the goddamn movie was doing. They made all the characters, all the soccer players on the team fat. When there's no way that is true. There's no way that had a big, fat, chubby guy running around playing center back. But apparently in this movie,
He fucked up Subotic.
He fucked up
Gonzalez
as well. Well, he lied about Gonzalez. He also has lied.
I talked to his family.
He's also lied repeatedly about the Subotic or Subotic, depending on what you want to call him, incident. Like, wasn't me? No, that's not how it happened. That's not how it happened. Or if I could do his stupid accent, I would do it, but I can't, so I'm not gonna. We got to.
It's like the Jonathan Gonzalez thing. He's like, I talked to his family. The student's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
What a stupid lie to make.
When it's going to be easily found out and easily, obviously, poked out as what it is, a lie. Anyhow, that's what he kind of is. Anybody who knows Thomas Rongen, so if he provided all the information for the movie, just go into the movie knowing 90% of it's probably a lie.
I would imagine by the 2010 team that Rossi was already capped to Italy at that point. Because I know there was the rumor that he kind of gave Reyna for the 2006 squad the ultimatum saying, "Hey, I'll choose America if you bring me to the World Cup." Basically, he wanted the green treatment, right?
Right.
I don't know if that's true or not. He always seemed to be 100% on Italy, so maybe he was calling Arena's bluff or something like that. I don't know, or maybe it never happened.
I've never heard that out of Arena's mouth. I've never really heard it out of Rossi's mouth that was the deal. But somebody who said they knew Rossi's dad said that's the deal. Like it was Rossi's dad making the deal. I don't know if I think you might be right that Rossi. I know he got multiple caps for Italy. I just don't know if any of them were cap tying.
He was in the Confederations Cup. I know that.
Okay.
Would that have been cap tying?
I think so. Yes.
An official FIFA tournament at that point.
It is. So that cap ties your ass.
But I don't know if there's qualifiers beforehand that he would have been lumped into, or maybe he was in the Euros for Italy.
Maybe
that's how they would have got to Confederations, right?
All I know is once he said he's not going to play for the United States, I stopped following him and tracking him. So whatever he did with Italy, he did.
It's true they didn't make it out of the group stage there, Lefty, but they did beat the United States. Remember. This was a team that beat us. I think it was like 3-1. Then we lost to Brazil 3-0, and then we beat Egypt 3-0, and managed to make it into the next stage.
How do you remember that shit?
I looked it up when we were doing the Bradley and all the other coaches and the anti-Berhalter. That's what it was. Yeah, I looked it up because I was like, oh shit, I forgot that we got smoked by Italy and Brazil in the group stage, and somehow we still managed to make it through. That means Brazil smoked Italy basically.
Yeah, because everybody got a trophy in that out of that group stage, basically, except for one team, right? So and that's what allowed us to beat Spain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then almost beat Brazil.
Beat Spain 2-0 and then lost to Brazil in the second half. 3 consecutive goals to beat us 3-2.
Oh, that was atrocious. Okay.
You're going into halftime, and I'm like, oh, we're fucking gonna beat Brazil. We're gonna get the Confederations Cup. I mean, I guess cool on that front, but I mean, it's actually cooler to beat Spain and Brazil than it is host that cup, right?
I wasn't even worried about the Confederation Cup part of it.
Who fucking cares? Yeah.
I was just like, let's beat Brazil. We're up 2-0. Are we going to choke it? And we choked it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was sad.
All right. Well, we didn't really park the bus, like not an outright park the bus. Like, I mean, literally play a 5-5. Literally park the bus. And I don't know if that would have done it, but
yeah, we played a 4-2-4.
But Spain tried to beat us after we were up by crossing it. And they couldn't get shit done because our center backs were big boys.
Wasn't it funny how many teams ended up playing Spain differently after we beat them?
Switzerland, when they beat Spain in the next World Cup, they asked the coach, so how did you game plan for? He said, I just watched what what Bob Bradley did to Spain in the Confederations Cup. We just copied it. That's all. That's what he said. I just copied it.
What was the record until we beat them? Like
Spain?
28 unbeaten or something.
I mean, it was a long time running.
It was something crazy.
Yeah,
it was a record in that area. I know that. But it's just like all of a sudden some rando team in CONCACAF ends up beating world champions. So
who's the arrogant ass Real Madrid center back? Who is now, I think he's back at Atletico Madrid for the end of his career.
I'm sure we'll have it come back up here.
Pretty boy. Somebody's got to know this.
Sergio Ramos?
Thank you. I think that's...
for whatever reason, I wasn't even thinking that he was the center back, but yeah, I guess he is, yeah.
Was he the center back in that 2009 Confederations Cup?
Of course, yeah, he would have been.
For Spain? I would think it. But I know I didn't
think he was at Real Madrid. But
oh, he's at Sevilla. No shit. Why was I thinking Atletico Madrid? Anyhow, just beating him gives me all the pleasure in the world because that guy, I despise that guy. I can't remember who they played in one tournament, and it was just like this tiny little team, and Spain crushed this team like 8-0. He was still celebrating like, they were playing Brazil or something. It was just so repulsive. He's doing that sucking your finger thing. Yep. And so I hated that just almost as much as I hated when the American women did it, when we were crushing whatever team they played from I can't remember what it was. It wasn't New Zealand. It was even smaller than that. In one of the world, and we were just destroying them like 7-8-0. Thailand, I think it was. And we were
they kept celebrating after all the goals. Yeah, it was
it's like celebrate the first 4, but after that, can you please stop celebrating it?
We have a bunch of people saying it was Thailand.
Oh, thank you for confirming my guess. All right, that was embarrassing.
Just a little recap of 2009. Here are the center backs. Ramos was playing right back.
Oh, no shit. Played him out of position.
Played him right back until about S27 says Ramos played right back until 2012.
Man, you guys are just full of Spain information. Appreciate that. All right. I think we're ready to move on. Brett, what do you got?
Got
outside of it.
I got a picture of a lady who's taking up a new role at a job. I thought I would pull it up and give her congratulations.
She a
pat on the back. Round of applause.
Prostitute? Stacy Swallows. Is this real? Manager at Siemens? No way. That cannot be real.
Do you think Siemens actively hires people based off their last name?
I don't know, but I do know this. Beavis's dad was a seaman. Yeah. Remember they're in the recruitment office? The sergeant goes, any one of you two have parents that were in the military? And Butthead goes, yeah, Beavis's dad was a seaman. He said, I don't know why you think that's so fucking goddamn funny. because of course they decided that was really hilarious and started to
course.
laugh in front of the recruiter. All right, what else you got? That's an interesting one. I mean, I don't know. Swallows could be what English is an English last name. I wouldn't normally. I mean, that could be a real name. It really could be. I've never met anyone with the last name Swallows. Have you?
No.
So that's why I'm kind of doubting it.
BMR says, is that her last name or how she got the job?
I don't think a lot of people really care about the swallowing part. It's the parts all leading up to them, whether or not she's going to swallow or not.
I think it's just it's a question of dedication at that point.
It's less messy. I mean, the dress stays clean, right?
Loaded with protein, though.
And that's why we know Monica Lewinsky was not a swallower, right?
Or Bill's premature.
The evidence was still on the dress. And that's what got him.
We were eating ranch pizza.
Yeah, that's odd.
She had a Go-Gurt stick.
That's so weird because we found a lot of sperm in that ranch. When we were doing the DNA, when we put it underneath the slide, we found dead sperm in your ranch dressing. All right.
I'm going to write a note to Hill Valley. Is it Hill Valley? Valley Hill? What is it?
Hidden Valley.
Hidden Valley. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's close.
Yep.
All right.
What do you got?
So there's a Twitter handle called Foodie Scran. Footy Scran. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
Footy Scran.
All right.
But basically, they go around. They talk about the price of food at all the stadiums.
Okay.
And you see all these European stadiums, and they have you get this massive amount of food and a beer, and it's like for €8, and you're like, oh,
that's nice. Yeah, I'd love that if we had that here.
At the Indy 11 games, what could you get for $8?
A beer,
maybe a beer.
Just one beer. You don't get
one box of popcorn, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So I thought we had it bad. I don't know where PEC Zoll from ZWOLLE.
Holland.
Is that Holland?
Swola.
Well, Zwolle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sounds
they have a meatball sandwich and a pack of crisps.
Where's wool?
For £8.
£8.
Here's your meatball sandwich.
Oh my God. This has got to be a scam too. This cannot be real. Nobody just throws a meatball in a hot dog bun.
Chris Gary said something along the lines of, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, he goes, that's too cruel for Guantanamo Bay. And I go, it looks like it's something they fished out of the sewers at Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, that's even worse than I thought. Hey, did you know we've got an American player at PEC Swola? He's got like 2 minutes so far.
The Che?
Nope. Anthony Fontana is with PEC Swola. He's been there actually since he left MLS in 2022 to go to a Ascoli in Italy. He has played 2 minutes total of soccer.
Yeah. I'm just jumping back to this meatball sub.
Yeah.
Outside of the fact that there's nothing on the meatball sub.
Yeah.
You could at least, roll out that a little bit. So almost like a sausage to an extent.
You could.
Why have this oval of a meatball?
It's not even round. I know.
It doesn't even take half of the bun up.
Just looks like a turd.
It really does.
So, yeah, they slice the meat up, add some lettuce and some mayo and some tomatoes maybe.
I don't know what the Dutch put on those type of subs.
They don't, but I'm recommending they should.
It was here in the States, and you were talking about like a Subway meatball sub. You're looking at marinara thrown on top of that?
You could do that, but that's kind of like Italian, right?
Yeah.
It's not really a Dutch thing. I think the Dutch do use mayo. I think they do. Like
with their crisps, yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually their chips. Where the fuck they call fries?
I don't know what they call fries there. I know in Germany we call them pommes. So maybe it's similar to that. Since Dutch is sort of a cousin of the German language. I don't know. Pump Fleets when I was a kid.
All right. Well, Derek,
Yep.
with your all your ample time on your hands nowadays, you do that. Okay. I was going to ask what extracurricular activities you do. I mean,
Darts.
do you go hiking? Do you play darts? Do you go splunking?
Fuck no, dude. I do a simulator, the car racing. So I do F1 and other sports car simulation racing. And then I play darts. And then I watch sports. Like, dude, I watched 9 matches this weekend. Well, counting the Juve one I watched when I got home today, which, by the way, I wish I could claw my eyes out.
Wait, you said the Juve game?
Oh, God, it's so fucking boring.
My God.
I almost went to sleep.
On Sunday, it was funny because I took Jackson out the field, and my brother came, and one of his sons came. We're just kicking the ball around and everything like that. After a while, it's getting to the point where we're going to call him hey, the Juve game is in 40 minutes. You want to go back? Because we're at Charlie was at my parents' house.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to go back there? We can put the game on, watch it. Yeah, I went back and watched it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is such a fucking boring game. The worst. Juve did everything. Sorry, we're going to jump right into the Yanks abroad right now.
I know.
Juve did everything they could to lose that fucking match. Everything.
They didn't even try to score a goal after they scored their goal. It didn't look like. It's like
they barely tried to score before they scored their goal.
That's so true. And then the other one opportunity that they had was when McKennie did that cross, and it went over what's his face's head, and the other what's his face almost headed in. Yeah.
And then Vlahovic.
There you go. Thank you. Right. I like that Vlahovic turned around and gave McKennie a thumbs up for that.
Yeah. It was a great cross.
It's a great cross.
Pinpoint cross.
It came in head level the whole way.
Yep.
That was the crazy. It was really on a flat plane.
So it was funny because as the game was starting and stuff like that, the players going out and running around and everything before kickoff, and they're like, Moise Keane gets the start again. He's having a stellar season so far. And I'm like, despite the fact he hasn't scored a fucking goal.
I don't know about stellar. Yeah.
He's doing well on the pitch. He's just not finishing any goals. And when he does finish the goals, they get called back.
Now, you have to give Pioli credit. At least they're winning,
Yeah.
It's boring as fuck to watch, but they are winning. Whereas watching AC Milan's a lot more fun. I really enjoy watching AC Milan.
The attack's there. And
yeah.
God, I mean, you have Chiesa up with the second striker, more or less. Get him back out on the left. Throw another vibrant player on the right. Throw McKennie in way out right when he gets back. Throw McKennie in the center. Then all of a sudden, it's a different team. Quite frankly, I was missing Weah's offensive presence. Just getting up into the attack and adding that type of a pressure.
You know where they have zero talent? Creative talent is the midfield. It's so fucking. All they do is pass it sideways or backwards.
Yep.
Every pass forward is a fuck up. It's a fuck up. So, I don't know how much more I can take of that this season, but I'm going to watch it because
Wes is there. You're going to watch it.
I know. Wes is there and Way is there, and I have to watch it. But, boy, it's painful. It was the most painful match I watched this weekend, even though I watched it today. I watched the replay today.
Well, it would be one thing if it was a bad game and had chances. I think Fiorentina outshot Juve something like 13-1 in the first half,
and they outplayed them.
It was something stupid. Well, yeah, I mean, we were defensively sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we had going for us. Here's another thing that drove me nuts. A ball comes across. Somebody laces across into the box, and somebody heads it out. What do they say? Oh, he headed that clear. He cleared it.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the ball. He cleared the ball only so far to this person right here, right? Weston had this clear. Actually, a couple of times he did this. He had the ball clear, about 25, 30 yards away from the goal.
But hit it right to the other team.
Yeah, and the announcer goes, oh, and McKennie just gave away possession. I'm like, fuck off.
How is that?
He was jumping up and clearing with his fucking head. What do you expect him to do?
He never had possession. He's just getting rid of it. Yeah. You can never. Who knows who's calling those games sometimes?
But hey, Weston had a solid performance. He was great in defense,
right?
And he was arguably the best in offense too. just getting up and make. He wasn't instrumental by any means, but he had a nice, quick one touch back into the center that started the play that scored the goal. Like it was like 2 passes later, and they scored a goal.
Yeah, and he should have had a clear assist because
Should have had a clear assist.
That dude missed that header.
Yeah. I mean, Weston's banging on it right now.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that Juve is shitting the bed.
He's the only interesting thing about the team to me. That's maybe because I'm obviously a U.S. men's national team stan. So, all right.
Yeah.
What else we got?
All right, jumping away from Yanks because it's way too early to start talking about real soccer topics. So,
well, we can always pepper some in there.
It worked out nicely. Let's go back to your extracurricular activities and how you enjoy spelunking. Tell us about spelunking, Derek.
Fuck spelunking. Fuck that shit. I'm also already claustrophobic, so you put me in a small little dinky cave and fuck that shit. You read about that guy many years ago who got stuck in one of those things because he tried to crawl through such a small crevice.
I don't understand it.
And so his brother got out. It took him another hour or 2 hours to find him and get back in for the rescue team. They tied shit to his leg. He was actually in the crevice upside down, so all the blood was rushing to his head. And that dude knew he was dying because after they tried to pull him out, he slipped out of the loop and just slid further down the crevice. So he was fucked. So
was that part underwater though?
No.
Okay. When you're saying like all the blood was rushing to his head, I'm sitting there like, does that happen underwater?
No.
I would imagine not.
He would have drowned. No, he thought he had found the secret small passage to another place, but there is a map, by the way, of this cave, but he was totally off. And so the crevice he tried to go down is just one of the ones that get thinner and thinner and thinner and then end. So he fucked up. And I can't remember what cave that was, but it's on YouTube. If you want to find it.
Fuck you, I'm not going to that cave, bitch.
I wouldn't even got in that fucking thing. It was so tight. And this already makes me want to vomit.
Yeah. So apparently when you're doing this shit right here, there are air pockets that you've got to get to. And if you miss the air pocket, which we're going to find out here, you tend to freak out.
No shit.
So there we go.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Are you going, Jacob? Oh, he just bailed.
Oh my God. What the fuck just happened? Some dude freaked out.
Yeah.
Because he didn't find the air pocket. These people are fucking sick. No shit.
Oh my God! I'm coming out. All right, we'll back it out.
Yeah, you shouldn't have gone in the first place, you stupid fuck. Why would anyone do this? What you can't find enough exciting things in your life to do? This is thank you, judgmental deity. This is an actual fucking nightmare to even watch.
I thought hey, suffocating yourself while jerking off was enough. Why would you want to go in this cave?
Yeah. No shit. And I won't even do the suffocating part either. What was that? What was the singer of what's the name of the band? He died jerking off. I need you tonight. Because I'm only Michael something. Lead singer. I almost said I wish, but no. Michael Bolton is probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I'm sure he is, so I don't mean that. Broke in excess. Thank you, the singer Michael Hutchinson. Oh, there we go. Thank God for people.
Oh man.
All right, yeah. This is.
I just know from the guy from Kung Fu and Kill Bill. I can't think of his name right now, but that was the big one where he hung himself in a closet while jerking off, and that's how they found him.
Well, that's how they found Michael Hutchinson.
Yeah,
from NXS. At least that was the original report. I don't know if it's changed since then. So that's kind of a weird way to go
man,
out.
Our chat is just
David Carradine,
man.
David
Well played,
Carradine.
guys.
That is right. Yeah, definitely some white people shit. Dude,
both for the spelunking and the choking yourself while jerking off. Yeah, I understand.
Probably both. Probably both. Stupid white people is what I would put it.
It's I got no other worries in my life, so I'm going to do some incredibly stupid shit. That's what it is.
And for what? For bragging rights? I mean, what is the?
Are you talking about the spelunking or the jerking off while choking yourself?
Jerking off thing.
Dude, I totally nearly suffocated, but right at the end, I climaxed.
Bam! It's the best one ever, man. Yeah, I don't think you brag about that. But I mean, do you really go around and brag about? I spelunked the Kentucky Cannonball Cave.
Even if the video that we just watched, even if it was just that guy, if it was just me doing it, I don't have to worry about some D-bag who freaks out because he missed a hole to breathe in.
A D-bag
might take me out in the equation.
Yeah, exactly. A D-bag that if you're going to be that frightened when it doesn't work out, then don't fucking do it. Because then it's not work. I mean, he was obviously in panic mode.
Oh,
so, yeah.
You can go,
yeah.
I went out. I'm good now. All right, we'll backtrack.
That was me driving to Louisville
a
couple weekends ago.
So dumb.
When I got in all that traffic, you're going 70 miles per hour and people are pulling out in front of you recklessly. You're like, holy shit, I'm about to die. Fucking shit. But you have more like a panic attack, not like that kind of. That's actual panic. A panic attack, you kind of like just get, I don't know how to describe it. Anyhow, you get really nervous. Let's just put it that way, and uncomfortable. All right, what else we got? Hopefully no more of that shit.
Hang on. I'm going to pull this up because that's funny.
Spelunking and self-choking to jerk off presents a 95% chance your mom has titty tots. Titty tots.
I think it means to say tats.
Titty tats. Titty tats. So that you're saying that Michael Hutchinson's mom had titty tats.
Probably 100% guaranteed.
Or what's the one right above the ass? That's called something too.
Tramp stamp?
Thank you. Tramp stamp. Yeah. But today, these days,
Evie has a star there too. And she goes, I hate the fact that it has the name of a tramp stamp now.
Yeah. Well, now everybody's got tattoos all over the fucking place. It's not just back there. It's, probably everywhere. And there was this gal who made a TikTok who's surprised that certain guys don't want to go out with her because of all her tats and her nose ring and all that. You're surprised? Yeah. Some guys they're not into that shit. That's just, that's how it is. I mean, yeah. I prefer a naked woman with no tats to a woman covered with tats that look like clothes practically on her. It's just my opinion. I'm old school. All right. What else you got? What?
Chick looks like.
What?
I'm fine either way. Depends on what the chick looks like, though. I'm not. Yeah. If she's got a sleeve and all that shit, whatever. She's banging. She's banging.
It's not my preference.
Problem. Yeah.
Well, hey, that's not to say Lori didn't have Lori Canada. Oh shit! I said her name again.
You keep dropping last names. Thank goodness these people hopefully have no connection near you anymore.
No, they don't. But she had tattoos, but it was tastefully done. So let's just put it that way.
Yep.
All right. But you got people tattooing their eyeballs now and their whole face.
Oh, that's fucked up. Yeah.
Nope. That's what I'm talking about.
And the tongue slit thing where they got now they have two tongues. I don't know that.
Yeah. Don't they do that fillet?
Wrap it around your cock, I guess. Man.
Can you do the filleting of the penis too? Can't you do that? Some guys do the fillet. Yeah.
One in the pink, one in the stink. Is that what you're referring to?
I don't know what it's called, Brett. I do not know what it's called. I've heard that some guys do that. Some of these people nowadays do things like that. On top of getting a cock ring.
Hang on, Derek. We got a laugh my ass off. Derek, what's our address?
No, I'm not saying anymore. God damn, I'm stupid for. Don't use people's last names, you asshole. All right.
Well, I mean, speaking of overcompensation, if you really want to win a war, you gotta show your enemy that you swing a bigger dick, right?
Not really. I don't think.
Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Okay, I was going to say I don't think Napoleon ever whipped his out.
Yeah, well,
And
I mean, I guess if we're talking about proportions, I mean, he was like what, 3'2"?
no
A tripod for all we know.
We've had this discussion before. Napoleon was 5'7", which was a perfectly normal height for his day and age. It was the British that came up with this tiny dude thing. All right.
All propaganda, war propaganda.
Yeah. Can you see Wellington ending up at the Battle of Waterloo, and he takes out his little binocular thing, and he's looking, and he sees Napoleon
There's a
and
tiny man over there.
And then Napoleon whips down his drawers and swings his dick around. He says, "All right, pack it up, guys. We're going back to England. That guy is hung like a horse." That's not what happened. There's no cock comparing. But okay, don't want to spoil your thing. He was not 5'4".
Is 5'4", like me. Fumar says, Napoleon being short was a myth.
Correct. It is a myth started by the British, who also had all kinds of other nicknames for him, by the way, and started by cartoonists in English papers drawing pictures of a tiny man. He was not tiny in his day. He was of average height. Anyhow,
the nickname the Italian Stallion was a little strange for him, seeing he was an Italian. But,
especially since his own wife didn't want to fuck him. But hey, that's another story altogether.
well, I mean, if he wielded this metaphorical dick, maybe she would have. Did you know that tanks have silencers?
Wow. There are tank silencers. That's so weird. I did not know, and I'm an Army guy, and I'd never heard of such a thing.
One, I don't know if that's true. Two, the big question is, why?
That's a good question.
Even if you silence it, and they're like, "Oh man, this exploded. What could have done this?" Maybe it's that giant cock over there.
Yeah, I mean, this would be
Where
a
did
cock.
it come from?
This would be a cock that smashed to the ground, and the balls have been forced up to the sides.
Yeah,
but so it's cock-like, but not actual.
Yeah,
it's not a penis. All right. Can we?
I don't believe it's true.
Do they? This is probably not true. Do they fire? Do they have it firing?
No. It's just a picture of this.
Yeah, this is it doesn't make any sense. A tank. This is by the way,
psychological warfare right here, though. If the enemy sees this, they're like, "Wait a second, what the fuck? Get out of here! Run away!"
And that is not a tank, as far as I can tell. It's called mobile artillery. It's not. They don't call those tanks.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. S27 says, "Can we get the soccer?" Not just yet. One last video.
Oh, one more?
And this is quick, 6-second video.
And we did we just did some soccer about 5 minutes ago.
What you talking about? All right, let me pull the video up here real quick, and then we'll move on.
He's got a point. We're 43 minutes into this fucking show. All right.
Yeah, you ever go wax throwing, Derek?
Nope, but I've seen people do it.
Well, here's my question. What's he throwing at?
He's going to throw out that rubber ball. That motherfucking thing's going to bounce back and almost hit her in the head, I would guess.
You think it's a her?
I don't know. I can't tell.
I'm going to go ahead and assume this person's gender, and I'd say that it's a him.
I don't know. It looks as androgynous as fuck to me, but go ahead.
Fair enough. Yep.
What a dumb fuck.
Woo!
That dude's not only androgynous, he's stupid.
It hit the fucking handle. He's like, dude, I'm gonna throw this really sharp axe at it. It's gonna pop the ball. Oh, didn't think that was gonna happen.
Not very bright. He's lucky. Like evolution almost took over there and got rid of a person that maybe shouldn't be on Earth, and certainly should not be wearing a shirt that says "the boss." All right, that's close. Oh my god, that's close. Anyhow, dumbass. All right, soccer. Where do you want to start?
Derek, I believe it's pronounced Dumas. He wrote a really famous book.
Dumas?
Dumas.
No, the shirt said "the boss." The boss.
I believe you called him a dumbass, though.
He is a dumbass.
That's why I said I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Dumas.
No, that's a family name.
All right.
All right.
Let's talk about Donovan.
I loved that interview. It was so great, man. I felt like people were being honest and shit. But I love the fact that every guest so far that's come on the show has said, yeah, the thing about Clint is he always wanted to kick your ass. It's like every...
Well, not this clip, but Donovan does talk about basically how, like, you know, we talked about this last show, I believe. Because you're like, oh, I haven't watched the episode yet.
I hadn't yet, yeah.
And they were talking about basically how, like, on the field they were not good friends.
Right.
And we made this argument whenever there was all that talk of Pulisic and Reyna not being close. Like,
they're closer than these guys.
Like, hey, if you fuckers can play on the field, whatever. And Donovan and Dempsey showed that. But Donovan said, like, we actually became closer once we retired and stopped playing soccer.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's not this clip. This is a different clip. But I thought it was fun because it adds a little context to the 2014 Donovan getting left off of the World Cup team.
It does.
So let's listen to this.
If it's the part I think
I was
it is.
I was embarrassed to go back to my team because they're like, fuck, you didn't even make the team. You know, I was embarrassed. And with my family too, like our families sacrifice so much. And so you feel like you let them down.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you didn't make the team, you know, and that's a hard feeling.
You know what Mo said about, what the F are you talking about? It's Landon Donovan. Of course he's going to make the team. Did you feel like that?
Real quick, I guess, before we, so just to cut it up a bit here.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing one thing I was kind of hoping for was that Donovan would have kind of leaned into the whole him and Klinsmann issue a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he does kind of open up a little bit, but coming up here in a little bit, but not as much as the one. Maybe. Did you watch the whole episode?
No, I haven't seen this part yet.
I might have to go watch the whole episode because I'm hoping he opens up a little more than what we see here.
This is part 2.
Huh?
This is part 2. I only watched part 1 so far.
Oh, I didn't know they broke it up into parts, to tell you the truth.
Yep.
Oh. All right, well, let's continue listening. So he was embarrassed that he didn't make the team. His teammates were saying, like, you didn't make the team. What's happening there? I don't think that was necessarily the case, quite frankly.
I mean, you shouldn't have been embarrassed. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, in the first episode, he talks a lot about his mental health issues and his depression and his, you know, painful introvertedness and how he needed that break for a while just to get right.
Yeah.
And I mean, nowadays people be like, hey man, I get it. Mental health's a real thing. Go get it. Go get yourself right. But fucking he got shamed by a lot of fuckers, including Klinsmann, for taking that break, who used it as a proxy excuse to get rid of him when that was not the case. And we all know it's not. It was personal. So there.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot when we talked about his first clip.
Yep.
Apparently, this is a clip from part 2, and it will air Wednesday.
Okay, that's why I haven't seen it yet.
Yep.
You like, do you know who I am?
No, not in that way, but
Do you know
I
who I
knew that
am?
I could help the team.
You know,
like
shit,
I
you
said.
could.
And that's, I was at a point in my career, if I was 21, I would have been like, do you know who the fuck I am?
Right.
But at 32, I just knew I could help the team. And I remember saying, what I said to Jurgen was, I said, I respect your decision. There are guys, I said this, I'll never forget I said this, and it came to be true. I said, there are guys in here, in that locker room, who you're going to take to the World Cup, who will play 3 or 4 or 5 games, will never play for the U.S. again, will rarely step in the United States again, and don't give a fuck what happens to U.S. soccer after this tournament.
Ooh, I think he's talking about Timmy Chandler or Julian Green.
Was Chandler on the World Cup team?
I thought he made that team. Yeah.
I thought he. I don't know. We'll have to wait on the chat. I thought he was kind of nixed off of the team, and he came back in the 2015 Gold Cup. I thought that was his return.
Well, the ending part where he says, and won't give 2 fucks about what happens.
What has Fabian Johnson done for the U.S. since retiring?
Yeah, he can't be talking about, you know, the guys that were born here and all that. I mean, you know how Bruce and him feel about that, right? They've said it so much.
Yep.
So he's probably talking about the foreign
I don't think he's talking about Jones. Maybe he was talking about Jones at the time. Maybe that was the thing. Maybe he was talking about Jones at the time. in hindsight, obviously he was wrong on that.
Nobody played harder than Jones, man.
Yeah.
So you can't be talking about Jones. Probably Fabian. Probably Timmy.
I was thinking Fabian.
Probably Julian Green. You know.
We heard anything from like the Roscoes and
maybe
American population? Jose
I
Torres.
don't know.
What the hell is happening? Isn't Jose still playing, or is he still playing?
I don't think so. I don't think so. No. But anyhow, yeah. I wish I can't wait to watch this on Wednesday. We might cover it on Thursday because this first part was really good because it talks about, you know, how Donovan sort of inadvertently isolated himself from the rest of the team. Like he had like 2 friends on that team, and the rest of them were too intimidated by him to approach him or feel comfortable approaching him. Because they just said, you know, he's the greatest American player that ever played and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And most of the conflict between Dempsey and Donovan was just healthy competition, right?
I think it was, ego and competition. Not necessarily ego, like I hate that guy, but look what that fucker's doing. He's showing me up. I'm going to do better next time.
Right. He might have been talking about Brooks too, although.
Yeah, Brooks too. But that was early in Brooks' career, though. I mean, that was like.
That's pretty early.
Young.
Yes.
He was young cat then.
But
let's see here. Chuck says not Jones, but Green, Fabian, Bacon, and Mix.
Maybe so, yeah.
Was Bacon on the team? Really? God, man, some space in that team. Then.
Yes, he was. And, you know, we'll never know the truth because he's not going to name names. But the fact that he doesn't dig in, as you said, to the Klinsmann decision and how it was personal. I don't know.
I respect your decision. I don't think those words exited his mouth.
No, I don't think so either.
No chance. That shit was personal. I guarantee you he had choice words. That last part where he's like, I remember saying this. I can't believe I actually said this, but blah, blah, and it came true. I believe that happened. But instead of saying, I respect your decision, I'm pretty sure he probably said something along the lines of, fuck you. You know.
Well, I remember him.
I can still bring something to the team.
I remember him being on a radio interview.
Yeah.
With the former ESPN guy, Dan, what's his face? He still has that show. No. And sports guy, very famous.
Never mind.
Sports. He was ESPN, you know, studio host for eons. Now he has his own show, and he's had his own show for a decade. But he went on that show, and he was asked, "So, you know, are you ready for the World Cup? Are you?" And he said to Dan, he's like, you know, I'm not going to presume I'm going to make the team. And this is like a few weeks before that Klinsmann made the decision. Dan Patrick, thank you, BMR. And I'm like, is he shitting me? Why does he feel like that he might not make the team? He had some sort of premonition because I don't think he would have said it otherwise on the Dan Patrick show. And you can find that on YouTube somewhere. Right before that, I don't know if it's still on there, but
almost feel though when you're going up through a camp and stuff like that, if you feel like you're the odd man out, you start picking up on certain things that the coach is saying, especially if you have a personal issue with that coach.
Well, here's the thing: he calls him into the Gold Cup after his sabbatical, right?
Yep.
Everybody's bitching and moaning because he hasn't been around for a while.
Scored a ton of goals.
Well, I don't know how many goals he scored, but I know he scored some important ones. And he didn't get to start right away in that tournament, if you remember right. And so when he scored the goal, I remember this is the only time I remember thinking Dempsey and him have some sort of connection. Because he scored the goal, and Dempsey came over and started pointing at him just like that over his head. Like, this is the man. This is the man. And it looked like he was looking at the sideline while he was doing it. Like, that was hey, this guy, he's one of our best players. It's like you can't bench this guy again. And that's the first time I ever felt like Dempsey and him had some sort of connection that was a positive one instead of just a competitive one. I wonder if they talk about this on Wednesday, and I can't wait for the interview because I'm looking forward to seeing like because the first part was so open and honest. This show's really impressing me. Like, I really thought it's just going to be a bunch of bullshit, but as soon as they hired Charlie Davies, I should have known better. Because Charlie Davies, you don't have an off button for truth. Whatever he's got to say is coming out of his mouth, right? And she's asking some.
Donovan scored 5 goals in that Gold Cup.
Did he?
Yep.
Yeah, I wish I could find out which games he started and which games he didn't.
Everybody's saying that goal you're referring to was the 2011 against Panama. It was under Bob, et cetera, et cetera.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about.
Because would Dempsey have been in that Gold Cup? Because I mean, that would have been during the time he was at Fulham, wasn't it?
That doesn't matter. We always brought the better teams to Gold Cup back in Klinsmann's day because we didn't play Copa. Anyhow, if I'm misremembering this, I would be shocked because those kind of things I don't forget. I'll research it and we'll come back to it next show. And I'll tell you what game it was, but because I do need to go back. But it wasn't under Bob Bradley. This happened after the sabbatical, and it must have been the Gold Cup. Had to be the Gold Cup. I can't think of whatever tournament it could possibly be, or whatever game it could possibly be.
It appears that the 2013 Gold Cup did not include Clinton Dempsey. Let me rephrase that.
Maybe it was an important friendly, some sort.
Everybody's saying that goal was from 2011 Gold Cup.
No, but it was definitely under Klinsmann. Anyhow, I will look it up, so we don't have to do it right now.
That's fair.
And I can't wait to talk about this interview on Wednesday. All right. What else we got soccer-wise? Got any?
Get some, I don't know if anybody's won the bingo yet. But if you do, you get the Matt Miazga kicking of Berhalter's dog video, apparently. Speaking of Matt Miazga.
Yeah.
You know, he's got like 11 yellow cards this season.
Of course.
And only like 4 of them were for actual like tackles and shit.
Dick punching?
Yeah.
Because that's his thing.
So this got brought back up, this whole thing. I wanted to talk about this a little bit.
For me, it was in this moment against Mexico. I was like, this guy isn't serious. Sure, he got some talent, but he really needs to grow up and quit this kind of nonsense. And then 5 years later, he's still resorting to the same petty shit. Dude, I don't know what country you live in, J.R. Baker, or what competitive soccer you play, or what era you're from. I can tell you this, and anybody that played back in the 80s and 90s will tell you this. Soccer was a fucking dirty-ass sport. And if you could get away with something, people tried. And that's the dick punching, everything from spitting in your face when the ref isn't looking. As this goes on, especially in Europe, it was nasty. The sport was brutal back in those days.
It was funny. This actually recently came up talking to my nephew. Because my nephew, he'll tell you, I mean, he's got anger issues, and then, you know, at times something will happen to him where all of a sudden he'll get that tunnel vision and then just black out what happens next. And then come back to like, what the fuck just happened?
That's a really serious anger problem.
There's one game I remember where he actually was at New Pal for his senior year because he was at Warren, but the Warren coach is an absolute fucking moron. So he ended up transferring over to Warren or to New Pal for his senior year. Was a standout player there, but there's one play, and I forgot who they were playing against, but they were in their offensive third, and he got tackled from behind, in and around the box, somewhere in that range. So he was at their box. No foul was called. The play commenced, and the player who tackled him had the ball. It was already past the halfway mark before he got up, and I saw it right then and there. He just looked, found the guy, and beelined. He ran 80 fucking yards to catch up to this kid, just to tackle him. The dirtiest fucking tackle I've seen from behind.
Yeah.
And I'm just yelling the entire time he's running, like, do it outside the box! Do it! Do it outside we didn't do it outside the box. Fuck.
I mean, listen, soccer was a brutal sport, even right up into the early 2000s. How do you think Stu had to retire so early?
Yeah, exactly.
It's brutal. If this offends you,
dirty fucking tackles. Yeah.
Yes. If this offends you, then I'd rather some guy who is 6'6" come up to me and make fun of me like that. than break my fucking leg. So, God, can we cry a little about this? This is nothing.
I'll jump to my actual the story I wanted to bring up before I brought that last one up. But since you've talked about, I'd rather a 6'6" guy do this to me instead of break my fucking leg. Do you remember what happened prior to this? Miazga was shielding the ball out of bounds.
Right.
And decided to
this little dude
rip him a new one. And
we know who this is. Yeah.
Miazga gave him a little shove, and he came back like a little small yappy dog right up in his face.
Right.
And he's just doing the and I'm like,
you might want to think about this.
I love this moment. This was one of my favorite moments from Miazga.
Is this J.R. Baker guy also offended when Clint Dempsey mockingly did that shit to that guy's face?
That thing?
Yeah.
It's this type of antics, whatever. Getting into the opposition's head, that's part of the fucking game. This was nothing dirty. The ball tickling and all the shit that Miazga did, like in France and stuff like that.
Ball grabbing.
Hey, you're getting a little crazy there, man. Come on, reel it back in. But this getting into one of our our biggest oppositions, our rivals, saying, "Hey, dude, you're a fucking shrimp. Get the fuck out of here."
That's harmless.
That's fine. Gooch is stared down with Borghetti. Like,
perfectly fine.
Fucking brilliant.
Right.
Those are moments I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Now, listen, the center back position is a dirty position. It has been for a long time, especially when I played. We all had the guy who was covering us or marking us on a corner kick, and he took his knuckles, the back of his knuckles, and just kind of rubbed them into your fucking spine as you were leaning backwards, like as if to say, I'm going to, or down on your fucking kidney area. They do that shit, man. It was fair in the sense that no one else could see it because you're smashed together and he's got his hand in there. Then we were Americans, so we didn't know to act. Like, oh my God, my back, oh my God, and fall down and start rolling.
I was when I was striker, I always, as I'm going side to side, I would always go over to the center back or the back, whoever's marking me, and I'd just tap their ankles, like with my cleat.
Yeah.
Just to piss them off. So they'd react and I'd draw a foul. So
there you go.
I was always a subtle shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't do anything vulgar. We did. So do you remember Kevin Burns?
Yes.
Played for Columbus, played in Europe a bit. He played for Greenfield.
I remember you're a friend of his.
Yeah. After high school, of course.
Right.
I became friends with a lot of kids from a lot of the kids migrated from Greenfield afterwards. But yeah, he came in. Oh no, he didn't come in. He was always in. He was one of the star players, but he was absolutely killing us in sectionals, just like destroying the midfield. Our midfield was whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He did some decent talents and stuff, but he was absolutely killing it. And this was my junior year because they subbed in a senior, and he was basically there to be an enforcer. He just went over, man-marked Burns, and then whenever he had the opportunity, he just swung back, going for a header or whatever, and just racked him.
Yeah.
And at that point, Kevin played a much more conservative match moving forward. So, I mean, this is all shit that happens, guys.
All to say that if this offends you, then maybe, as J.R. Baker's description says, okay, he says humility, love, grace, compassion, joy, walking by faith, do all that. Live your life that way, J.R. Baker. But that ain't soccer, dude. That ain't football. That's not how shit gets worked out on a football field. This is what happens. And if this offends you, then you're kind of a tender victuals kind of person. And you better toughen up when it comes to shit like this. S27, 199. Landon didn't start the January or March friendlies. Give me a chance to research it. I'll figure out what game it was.
Yeah, I think this is in reference leading into the World Cup itself. So it's basically saying the windows leading in before he had the pre friendlies before he would have been left off. He wasn't even starting for Klinsmann then. That could have been one of the things that Donovan was talking about. He had a feeling that this is going to happen. This is weeks before the final roster came out.
He didn't start or he didn't play. S27.
Well, it looks like he says. I mean, he just says he didn't start. I'm assuming he may have gotten in, but I mean, if you're a side character on a Klinsmann team, you kind of gauge it. You can kind of gauge like, oh, he put me in at the 83rd minute, or he put me in this, the 78th minute.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get a lot of playing time. I'm fighting for my spot here, type of thing.
My question is S27. He didn't start, but did he play and did he score in one of those friendlies? He didn't start Camp Cupcake games. Yeah, I'll have to research it myself. It's such a memory that's stamped inside my head. It'd be really odd if I couldn't figure out what the fuck it was. But anyhow, we all misremember certain shit. So thank you, Lane, by the way, and thank you, S27. You guys are talking about Miazga. Meanwhile, all I do is think about how in love with himself Twellman is with that bio. Oh, I didn't read the bio.
No.
Yeah.
Makes a little more sense now that I see some of the other chats here. It's like Fumar says, losing that blue check mark really triggered tight shirt, apparently.
Why? What does he say in his description?
I don't know. Oh,
we just set it up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me pull back up. I just realized that it's still there.
Former blue check, Apple TV lead, MLS analyst.
Former blue check.
Think Taylor or believer, St. Louis Sports member, Hall of Fame member, and the Sports Museum inductee. Yeah, that is kind of a weird.
But why would you put in your bio that you were
former
a former blue check mark?
Yeah, that's
outside of indicating that I don't want to pay $8 a month for Elon blue check. But most people would just move on. They're like, whatever.
That is a weird thing to put in your description. Like, are you trying to say, I am a celebrity, by the way. I am a blue check person. I'm a celebrity dude. All right. Hey, thanks again, Lane Kiffin. Wish it was really you. Anyhow, enough of that Miazga shit. It's like, get over it, guy. I can't. And he's not the only one. Trust me. I've seen many, many other people put down. Yeah, I knew after that he was a douche. Dude, what are you talking about? Maybe he is a douche. I don't know personally, but I do know one thing. That dude was getting in his face, and he was just letting him know, hey, little guy, you might want to check this part out because I wouldn't be coming at my face because I could rip your shit. That's like Dempsey telling, what's his face? You don't know where I'm from, dog. Yeah. Right? Jamie. Right? So Jamie Gallagher. Like, what's wrong with that? That happens in soccer. People mouth off.
Well, and I remember, and I don't remember who came up to Miazga after doing this thing, and he shoved him, and Miazga's sitting there going like, oh, did you see that? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Trying to get the ref involved there. And
right.
I remember the Mexican fans were saying like, oh, Miazga's such a little bitch, man. He really pussyfooted out whenever somebody his size came up to him. I'm like, no. I mean, he wasn't doing anything to begin with. Right. He was making fun of his size, and when somebody got physical, he pointed it out, trying to get your ass a yellow card.
Yep, exactly. There's all kinds of those. Anybody that's played in the game or watched it for a long time knows, except for this Baker dude, that shit goes on in soccer. There you go. Was it Micah Richards he said that to?
That's what the chat's saying.
Okay.
And they're also saying it was Alvarez who came up. Again, chat, you're fucking awesome. You're they're filling in all the holes.
How do people have memories like that?
I don't know.
God damn, I don't have the memory capacity to have all that information in my head. All right, so let's move on.
We're going to move on right to your favorite topic of the show, Derek.
All right, hold on. I'm ready.
Ready, go.
Transfer news. Everybody loves that transfer news, but me. Was that pretty good? Was I?
Yeah, you're spot on. Yeah, you missed the first transfer news because I think you were clicking on the button at the time, but you got it. It was all in sync.
It was in sync last time, but in the playback, I checked it out and it was out of sync.
Damn.
Yeah, something's going on there. Edgar Moreno got a picture of Tolkin and Vasquez up. Okay.
Yeah. So we know about Tolkin. We'll get into Tolkin here in a second. But obviously Vasquez is going on the free. Or no. He's not going on the free since he's actively going to sell him this winter.
Well, he asked to be.
Yeah. They declined. Where was he going? Who was the team? Oh, it was Gladbach.
somewhere in
They got Pifak
Germany.
instead.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Gladbach. And obviously, Gladbach could still be a chance because Pifak did pull his twig and giggleberries this weekend.
He did, but
he was having a solid fucking match too, man.
And I don't think Pifak's going to want to go back to Union Berlin next season after they get relegated because they are horrible.
Yeah.
I don't. In the Tolkin thing, where they have him going.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. I did want to, because I do have another thing for Tolkin here coming up. So that's the only reason I'm not talking about him right now.
All right.
With Vasquez, here's an interesting one. Feyenoord might be out a striker this window.
So just replace Santi with
why not?
With Vasquez.
It'd be a smooth transition into a league with more eyes and build his raise his stock there.
As long as
especially if you're going to lose him.
Especially as long as you get to play with one of the big boy teams in the league, which apparently isn't Ajax anymore. But yeah,
well,
I would go do it.
That again, Ajax will find their feet and they'll be mid-table, low mid-table, or whatever because they're already so far into it at this point. But they're not going to get relegated. I would be
they're not
incredibly shocked if they get relegated.
They're not going to get relegated.
Their bench has too much talent to be relegated. So
on paper.
On paper, yeah. So they'll figure it out. But in that sense, though, wouldn't it be great to go to a historically great Dutch team that's struggling and go there and start scoring goals and maybe be a resurgence for them?
Yeah, I mean, you can go there, put down some stats that make you look like you should be in the Premier League, and then go to the Premier League and have none of your teammates pass you the ball and not score any goals at all, or maybe just one for the whole season. So, listen, that's why there's so many players that succeed in Holland and fail when they leave to a bigger league. It's hard to take all the goals that you're getting against Utrecht and all the other shitty teams in Holland that you get to play because you can pad your scorebook.
Yeah.
Right. Look at Pepi's stats already, and he barely plays, and he's got how many goals and assists?
Yeah.
I mean, he got more this weekend. So it's going to look good on paper, but it doesn't yet prove that Pepi's ready for anything bigger than Holland quite yet.
Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, if he goes to Holland, he'll find playing time.
Yep.
Start padding the numbers and everything like that, and he makes a move across. He's got the body type to succeed in a more physical league like EPL. But then again, so did Josie, and Josie had a season and a half of like record scoring seasons for himself at AZ, and then he went to Sunderland and.
Well, look at Jimenez now at Fulham. That dude can't score a goal to save his fucking life, and he starts all the time.
But I mean, at least he was in the EPL prior to the Fulham move.
He was great at Wolves.
So
he hasn't been good.
That's a little bit different.
He has not been good since his head injury.
Yeah,
he's been bad. And when we lost Mitrovic at Fulham, I thought, oh fuck, we're gonna suck now. But replacing him with Jimenez, like that might work. It's another big guy, but maybe he can come back and get back to the way he was playing at Wolves before the head injury. He just never got there. He's just never made it back. So that's kind of sad to see. Now, when he plays against us, I'm fine with it. Plays US when he plays for Mexico. I don't. So I'm kind of glad they call him up.
Alex and Fumar are both bringing up a sentiment that a lot of people debate on. Alex is flat out saying that MLS is better than Holland, but Fumar is basically asking: are they better? That much better than? Is that much of a better upgrade than MLS?
If you go to Feyenoord and all you get to and you get to play against PSV and you get to play against Ajax normally, right? There are a few teams that you play in that league that are going to be against teams that are better than any MLS team. Now, the problem is outside of those handful of teams, whereas in Scotland there's only two, right? Rangers and Celtic. Well, there are at least four, typically in Holland. The rest, a lot of the teams are garbage out
generally
below
Ajax,
that. They
PSV,
are
AZ,
garbage.
and Feyenoord.
But then again, if MLS is so goddamn good, then why did Mr. Fontana get to play so much for Philly? And now that he's at SC Zwolle, which is one of the worst teams in Holland, he can't even get a fucking minute.
Oh.
He can't get any minutes of playing time. Mihailovic lit up MLS, and he is fucking nobody in Holland. Absolutely zero nobody for AZ.
And he's not getting much playing time either.
Yeah. So usually if you go to AZ, PSV, Feyenoord, and Ajax are your four big ones, right? On occasion, you'll get like somebody else come out of nowhere, like a Sparta, Rotterdam, who have a great season. But those four are big clubs, and when you play against any of those clubs, you're getting an experience that's better than MLS.
So,
go below that, and you're not.
I guess to extend the olive branch, are there teams in MLS who could compete with the top levels of Holland?
They could have good games against them, yes.
So yeah, I would imagine that the top teams of MLS could be competitive with the top part of Holland.
They'd be competitive, period, in Holland if they went there.
There are teams in Holland that Chicago would consistently beat.
Yes, the bottom shitty ones, typically.
Hey-o. We're not getting relegated in Holland, apparently.
I mean, look how bad Utrecht is. They're a garbage team. They would not be they'd have a rough time in MLS. But at the same time, the current PSV team would probably be the best team in MLS. I mean, listen, it's all conjecture, but I don't think you can just flat out say one league is better than the other, because you have to add in all the context, and then you've got to look at all the levels. There's tons of MLS teams. There's only a handful of teams in the Holland Eredivisie. So
Louis de la Torre played for Heracles.
Same thing.
Is it the same thing? They're
Yeah.
not relegated.
They got relegated. Nope. They did get relegated. They came back
Did
up.
they get promoted? Okay, never mind.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So he's been away for 2 years now. Luka.
In fairness, having watched a couple of his games while he was there, and then watching a lot of the every touch and all the highlights, he was one of the best players there. Hence why he got out of there and is now
a regular
relegation bound.
Well, they'll figure that out again.
Yeah.
Right. Just like last year, they'll squeak it out, Celta Vigo. But yeah, I mean, obviously he's playing in a better league now that is more competitive than Holland. And look, he was great. He couldn't score or get an assist because his teammates were awful at Heracles.
Yeah.
But now that he is in Spain, he's kind of having the same problem. Actually,
that historic for me at least, but historic debate about Luka de la Torre at Heracles, where the big argument was like, well, why would you bring him up to the U.S. men's national team? He has 0 goals and 0 assists in X amount of games. I'm like, have you watched any of those games? Have you watched any of the highlights? Because I can count on every single game that he should at least have 2 assists.
Right. Oh man, he should have
any
been
number of those games. Man, he should have had really padded score.
Right.
Stats in that.
Assist stats. Yeah. He should have. But
they said nobody can finish. And that's why they got relegated again.
They're fucking broken, dude. So, okay. So like I'm saying, I'm not going to definitively say, because we got a gazillion teams in MLS, and then we got a really short list comparatively of teams in the Eredivisie. I'm going to stick with what I said, and you can take that any way you want. There are teams that could obviously whoop up on the bottom 7-8 teams easily in Holland.
Mm-hmm.
But most MLS teams are going to have a hard time against Feyenoord, against PSV. Could they get an occasional win against them head-to-head or tie or whatever? Yeah, sure. The best teams in MLS could definitely do that. But we have our shitty teams too in MLS. And it's just there is such a significant drop-off after the typical top 4 in Holland. And we already listed out who they are. That, yeah, it's considerable. It is considerable.
Yeah, and every single player, regardless of the league that they go to in Europe, we talk about this all the time when comparing MLS to insert rando Euro league here.
Yeah,
it's always the same thing. They say, whether it's Denmark, whether it's Belgium, whether it's Scotland, whether it's Italy, whether it's wherever, they say, hey, you know what? The big difference between the two leagues is the speed of play and the speed of thought. Not saying that the play in MLS isn't fast or anything like that, but just like where you need to be, how you need to make your passes. You got to get the ball off your foot quicker. All that shit's faster in Europe, even if you're playing in a lesser league.
I don't think that's true anymore. I think MLS is definitely better than
That's
Denmark
true.
and faster than Denmark and Sweden and Norway. And
Well, any of the Scandi leagues like that, Norway and Sweden stuff like that, I feel like that's more of a wash. But even people going to Belgium and Denmark of recent, like in the last 5 years or so, that's the first thing they always say.
I'm not.
Mihailovic said that in Holland. I mean, that doesn't make sense though, but.
Yeah, I can see that in Holland for who he's playing with. He probably looks around his teammates and their decision making and go, God, I'm slow compared to them. Yeah, actually, you're not slow. You're just a pussy. But anyhow, as far as Belgium goes, I'm not buying that at this point either. Right? I think that MLS is better. Typical average MLS team is going to be better than Genk. We're playing in Belgium at this point. Because I've had to watch so much of it, right? Because Mackenzie's there.
I can't speak on that front. I can only go with what the players said and then assume at that point.
They do have it on TV, you know. You can't watch those Jupiler.
I'm gonna steal a phrase from Tact in the sense there's only so many hours a day, and I can only spend so much of it watching soccer, Derek.
Right. I'm just telling you.
Not because I don't want to, but because I've got a family life, and I watched a couple of games this week, and I've missed so many of the American players playing, primarily because I've got to do other things with my family.
I get it, but there was a time where Anderlecht was consistently making the Champions League, and there's always one really decent Belgian team that performs well, but again. The bottom end of that fucking table is pretty horrendous. It's pretty bad. So I wouldn't. Yeah,
I don't think he's saying that's 27. I don't think Derek is saying that Genk is just a bad team and can't produce players.
They produce them
to play as a whole.
Yeah,
in the league.
Even when De Bruyne left Genk, remember, he went to where? Chelsea, right? And guess what they did with him?
Didn't play.
That's right. Now, you can blame that on Mourinho, or it could have been that maybe he just wasn't ready yet to make that gigantic step. So, but yeah, that's always a crapshoot too, by the way. All these players that dominate at the top of the Belgian league or dominate in Holland, sometimes they make that jump, and there's a long, long list of them, including Josie Altidore, who don't make it when they go to England, or don't make it when they even go to Germany. It happens.
I'm not going to say that Josie shouldn't have scored more goals. He should have. There
were
definitely different clear-cut opportunities he should have put it away. I will also say, though, that Sunderland team also did not produce a lot. And the times, again, when he drew fouls in the box, if he were to take the PKs, his numbers would have been much more padded. Hell, he would have been close to double digits in goals if he would have taking the PKs.
They didn't pass it to him either.
That's a big thing too, yeah.
I mean, there were games
ironic since he's a big, person inside the box. You'd imagine.
Oh no, he had his hand
there eventually.
He had his hand up.
Yeah.
No one ever passed him the ball. So anyhow, listen, I'm not gonna. It's really difficult to have this debate on which leagues are MLS better than, because where MLS is generally strong is. Because of the rules, all our teams are pretty equal in strength for the most part. There are outliers to that. But, from first through the top 15, 10 teams in MLS, there's not a whole lot of difference, right? But you look at Scotland after the top two, it drops like a rock. You look at Holland after the top four, traditionally, it drops like a rock. We don't have that because we play underneath.
Rights.
Right. We play under a different system of limitations. So
we get GAM and TAM.
GAM, TAM, and all kinds of weird
allocation rules and shit.
Which forces the teams to be generally equal in what they spend. Like no one is outspending anybody else by, except for the outliers, a gazillion dollars, like Chelsea's spending money like it's just pooping out of their ass, right? Compared to some of the other teams in the Premier League, who basically, like Sheffield United and some of the newly promoted teams, came up and spent almost nothing. They're like, yeah, we'll just keep the team we got, and we'll, where it falls,
Yeah. Chris Gary brought up the outliers equals Chicago. We definitely do spend a lot of money on players and just get no results out of it. Although Shaq has come out and stated that he knows lots of players in Europe from Brazil to Switzerland and Poland. And
and
all he has to do is make a phone call and he can get a player. And the topic, the big topic of discussion in MLS right now is that Lewandowski is going to sign with MLS.
Why would he do that?
Don't know.
He's got plenty of. Yeah, he's going to stay at Barcelona longer.
Well, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I would assume yes.
Who's saying that?
MLS. All it's flooded Twitter. It's all on Twitter.
Well, they flooded Twitter all about Messi 3 years ago, and it took him 3 years to get here.
Yeah.
So I think it's premature ejaculation to be getting all excited about.
Start now. You get a couple years later. Yeah.
It'll be sore as hell unless you use the right lubrication.
Fuck that raw dog. That shit.
All right. Source: Sheffield United and West Brom are reaching out to.
So, real quick. Back to Lewandowski. Not to LA Galaxy. Why would he go there? Chicago has the biggest population of Polish people outside of Poland.
Okay, well that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is, first of all, is the ban on LA Galaxy signing over? How long is that? I think it was only one season, so I think it ends after the season is over. If that's the case, LA, if they're willing to spend the money, is a place that big stars like to go. Beckham went there. So yeah, did not did not Ibra go there too? So it wouldn't surprise me if LAG opens the wallets to get that done. But it's too early. It's too early.
So the big problem with Chicago at that point is really just the geographics, because they have the piggy bank as well. They got a billionaire owner who's willing to flood cash into it. But yeah, you got to deal with Chicago winners.
And I mean, outside of some of the art districts, it's not New York, it's not Broadway, and it's not LAG, it's not LA and Hollywood, right? That's why people go to those teams. Miami is the Hollywood of the West. There's no actual movies made there for the most part, but people love to go to Miami to, I think we said, didn't McKennie's teammate, doesn't Pogba have a house in Miami that he goes to after on the off seasons?
Wes has a place in Miami as well.
Think so. So yeah, that's another weather favorable, but also
that's the thing. That's the big thing right there.
Stars live there too. Like, I guess
the big issue you're going to come across there is those teams can only house so many players.
Nashville's another one that's on the up and up. Like, I just visited my drummer, my friend, and we did some recording in Nashville. Dude, we got in this truck. We drove around town. And it's like old Brat Ripple when it was like just buzzing with people, you know? And he lives in the kind of the fancy part because he bought his house a long time ago. And now it's like all the houses around him are $1 million. So we're just driving around. He's like, oh, that's so-and-so. He wrote that movie, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that guy. And we were just pulling over and talking to these guys. And I'm like, I've never seen that movie. I have no idea what that is. He's like, oh, no, it's on Netflix. It's like, I don't have Netflix. I have no fucking clue what that show is. Then we rolled to another. Oh, that guy's a producer. He produces Kenny Chesney's stuff. I'm like, well, I don't really listen to Chesney, so I don't know. And then my friend, my drummer, he's like, yeah, I just made an investment in this new coffee place that's opening up that is going to be motorbike themed. I'm like, what? That makes no sense to me. But he made the investment. He's like, because I started talking about how as an IndyCar fan, kind of catching up. He's like, oh yeah. And he's like, you know who the co-investor is with me and like 8 other people? I'm like, nope. He's like, Joseph fucking Newgarden. I'm like, God damn it. I want to meet Joseph Newgarden. He's like, next time you come down, we'll go have coffee with Newgarden. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Anyhow, there's stars galore in Nashville. So it's another city where...
Well, Nashville's always had the music aspect behind it, but now with the movie industry, Nashville and Atlanta are becoming massive.
Yeah, right. So
yeah, fuck California and the cost of living out there, man.
Oh, no kidding. Taxes
We're gonna get acres upon acres of land out here to do the shit we want to do.
There are no state
They're damn
taxes.
cheap.
There are no state taxes in Tennessee either, I believe.
I don't know
So
about that, yeah.
it's another reason why stars want to move there. And there are a number of people that are moving there, and Austin is the other hot place. So if you're a big star, you want to go to a hot place. Nobody wants to go play in Chicago where it's freezing cold. There's nothing that fancy about Chicago anymore. They used to be like the heart and soul of indie rock, independent music, and that's kind of died off too. So
it really depends on what you're expecting from what you're expecting the player really wanting in a city where they're playing. It's money. That's predominantly because at that point you have enough fuck you money that if you want to fly to New York for a weekend, you can fly to New York for the weekend. You're at that point, it's going to come down to money. Chicago's not necessarily, again, Chicago's biggest hindrance really is the weather. That's the biggest hindrance. Because I mean, how do you say, hey, oh fuck Miami? You don't want to go to Miami, man. They got black widows, they got anacondas, and you can't go swimming in your pool without checking for alligators. We don't want to go there. And then you don't want to go to LA because at any point, man, an earthquake could just take that entire city underwater, you know?
Yeah.
Come
All
come
right.
here.
I don't think they're that worried about that.
No, it's not.
But the cold. Yeah.
Cold.
I never moved to Chicago because I can't take the cold, dude. I can't take it. Although I like it better than hot. You get that.
I'd have no problem. I mean, cold sucks. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's some brutal. I've been to Chicago for some of the early season games, and at least at Toyota Park, man, the way they had that stadium angled, that wind would just fucking whip in there. I'm like, if you're building a stadium in Chicago, you'd want to have a wind block.
Something.
You'd know where the wind's coming from.
Just
block the fucking north side.
Put the fucking dome on it.
Seriously. So that was brutal. You just sit there like, Jesus fucking Christ. It was warmer out in the parking lot. Why is it so cold here, you know?
Yeah. All right, let's get to this thing here.
Yeah.
Sheffield United and West Brom are reaching out to the Red Bulls to discuss a deal for John Tolkin for January. If I were him, I would not go to either of those teams. You are not going to play.
Yeah, that'd be a big concern, right? There's the same argument I made with Vasquez going to Feyenoord. Since they're looking for a striker, you're more likely to play there than if you were to sign for an EPL side.
Augsburg, even. More Gladbach, even. You're going to play eventually at Feyenoord if they do what they usually do, which is have to sell their best player eventually to somebody who wants them really badly. And that's usually one of the top scorers.
Obviously with Gladbach, P. Fox there on loan, and he won his starting spot. And what they bring in, what's his name? He got injured. What was his name? It's not Hurt. It's
who are you talking about now?
Gladbach. Short little white kid.
If Peacock gets healthy again, he'll be back as the starter.
100%. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Though is that I can't think of the kid's name, but no, it's a different player. They pushed play up top at that point.
Yeah.
No, when P Fox is healthy again, when his nether region is fully healed,
right?
He will be back. So I mean, Vasquez going to Gladbach would be more of a long-term thing, I guess.
I wouldn't go there.
I wouldn't either. That's why I was saying Feyenoord at that point, because they're already losing their big striker at this point.
Feyenoord's a good spot to go. New York Red Bulls rejected a bid from Mainz for the defender this summer. What was it, like a $1 million bid? Salzburg still seems to be the top option for 2024. That's what I said, with Leipzig the final destination in the future. That's the smart way to go. And then if Leipzig doesn't really want you, you can go from Salzburg to somewhere else. But Salzburg's a good place for a guy like Tolkin to start, to really not so much up his game, but if you're at Salzburg, you're going to get Champions League games. And then, you'll play against one or two decent sides a season at Austria, and then the rest are shit. But, you got your Klagenfurts and all that crap. They're horrible. Although I don't think they're that horrible. I think they're like mid-table this season. Regardless, again, it's the same problem as Holland, right? You'll have, well, in this case, even less. You'll have another team, couple teams that are going to be put on a good fight. But other than that, what you're really looking forward to is your chance to test yourself in Champions League. And if you're Salzburg, you're making Champions League every goddamn season, and you're finishing first every goddamn season. So, but don't go straight to Leipzig. I mean, that's one of the best teams in the Bundesliga. You will not play
unless you're just lights out a starlet for our youth teams or for an MLS side. You absolutely say, hey, go to a lesser league in Europe and shine.
Although
build your case.
There's a devil's advocate argument here, which is a good one. And someone would say, listen, Scally barely got to play.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say when you started playing devil's advocate. I was like, oh, Scally's a great example here.
Right. And he went straight to Gladbach and after a short while was playing. So
it's like
there is
season, yeah.
I think that's kind of a fluky thing, maybe, but maybe not. Maybe Tolkin is a lot better than we think he is. Maybe, as Pete says, we don't know what his ceiling is. Pete seems to think he knows what his ceiling is. I'm not sure we do yet. I'm not sure we know that about Tolkin yet. I think we need more time to assess that. I don't know how much more wiser he can get. And believe me, he has enough of the technical skills to be a really good player. What he's going to have to learn is positioning, when to go forward, when to get back, all of those things that you're going to learn better, I think, by going overseas somewhere and learning a little bit more about yourself, testing yourself, maturing, becoming more of a wise, high IQ soccer player. So, yeah, there are outliers like Scally who proved to us that that kind of move can work. Derek, you want to play with his hair? Tolkien's hair?
He's starting to echo a little bit of Discrude going with that haircut.
Is this his current haircut?
I don't know. I know the previous one had his blonde phase that he had during the Gold Cup. I don't know if this is what he currently is right now.
Yeah, I don't know where he is now. That looks like an older photo, but it could be a newer one. I don't know.
He was with the U.S. squad. Looks Neil behind him, I think.
Yeah, it's a youth squad. I don't know when that photo was taken. I prefer this look over the blonde-haired thingy that he does.
Yeah. Kind of threw me for a loop. Speaking of the players who did the blonde thing, Rain has obviously kept it up. Makes him easy to see on the
That's
TV
true.
Of course. But it threw me for a loop. I'm looking at Gladbach, going back to Gladbach, since we already talked about PFOC and how he's doing well with Gladbach. You know, he had a goal. He had a goal. Drew a PK, was instrumental in the other goal that they got in the first half.
Yeah.
Like I said, part of all three goals. It was difficult seeing where Scally was on the pitch because he's gone back to his normal haircut.
Yeah, I know.
And he just blends in with all the other players for Gladbach.
I just assume usually, he's probably here. That's probably him because that's where he would be. If
I've got to go by numbers a lot of the time because they have a one of their center mids, their deep lying center mids, does cover for him when he goes up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of time where that guy is like number 9 or whatever number he is.
Yep.
He's always behind them. Like, there's Scally with the pass. Oh, Scally. Well, no, it wasn't Scally. Good. Okay, thank God.
Yeah, it depends on how close I am to the TV.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting on my couch and watching it, which is usually not where I am, I'm here with my laptop and I'm watching the game, and I'm also doing some shit on my laptop watching the game. Anyhow, so.
All right. Who did Gladbach play? They played Freiburg, right? And they said that in the beginning of the match, they said that Gladbach hasn't earned a point at Freiburg since 2002.
Mm-hmm.
A big win.
Yeah.
Broke that curse.
It was a big win. And then there are other things that happened this weekend as well, by the way, that were big as well, but we'll get into that. I don't know if we're
That's all the transfer news. So, sorry, we have one more.
Okay.
Then we'll get into the Yanks broad report here.
Okay. PSV shows interest in Chris Richards. Oh, come on.
Is Ernie this interested in bringing all the Americans to Holland?
I mean, it's getting ridiculous at this point. Due to being familiar with European football, he is seen by insiders as a better alternative because Miles has everything to prove. Would likely be alone as Palace would want to recoup as much of the 12 mil as possible. I don't think Palace are ready to let go of Chris Richards. They play him every chance that they can when they need to close out a game. They play him as a CDM. So just let him keep doing that for a while. Eventually, one of those two center backs is going to get injured. He's going to get some chances to prove himself. I don't know why. Crystal Palace needs a backup center back, and he's obviously their preferred backup center back. And I don't know why you go backwards and go to PSV to prove you can play. Everybody already believes you can play, or else you wouldn't be on a Premier League team.
Yeah, I mean, he's young. He's center back at this point. Let him continue vying for a spot. I mean, he's not like he's riding pine or not on the 18. He's actually getting minutes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
He'll work his way into it, guys. We gotta stop this this instant gratification we're expecting with our players.
Right. It'll take time. And
now,
I don't.
There is one player I would expect more instant gratification with. And that's Reyna.
Yeah. That's so frustrating. I've come to despise Terzic as a manager. The way he sets up, the way he plays the team, everything about him makes me just repulsed.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I was just gonna say, it's so hard for me to watch the Dortmund games, and so before I watched Dortmund, I obviously looked up to see if Reyna played, and two things happened. I went, okay, that's one less match I got to watch, and then fuck you, Terzic.
Yeah,
you bastard, for not playing him, and you deserve to lose 5-0 or whatever the fuck it ended up being. You stupid cunt. That's what I thought.
So while my brother doesn't actually watch soccer, he doesn't take time out of his day to watch games except for U.S. men's national team games. He's still up to date, relatively speaking, on players and where they're at and stuff like that. Just from being around me, he soaks it in from stuff I say throughout periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
But his two sons are Liverpool fans. And so they follow a lot of the EPL. They watch a lot of that stuff. They both all keep tabs on American players abroad, but they don't necessarily watch anything else besides Liverpool and maybe some EPL games. Which I took a lot of fun ripping into my nephew Josh, who watched. I was like, yeah, because we're out there playing, and Liverpool's playing Luton, and all of a sudden I hear ding. I'm like, oh, Josh, somebody scored.
It was Luton.
But then, it actually was Liverpool's 95th minute goal to tie it up.
Yeah,
so,
they got lucky. They got lucky this weekend. Yeah, I came back.
Take fun on that, but I the whole point of me bringing this up is I had to explain to them why Reyna wasn't getting time. So,
well, I mean, I have to do the same thing for my parents, but
yeah.
If I told them Pulisic didn't play, they're like, "Oh, he's injured." I'm like, "Yeah, he's injured again." All right, we should get into Matt Turner. Unless you got more.
Well, let's hit all the Yanks part here. Let's go.
So there is reason to be worried about Matt Turner. And again, this has nothing to do with instant gratification as well, because this on this case doesn't, because this is serious. They brought this player in from Portugal, I think, with every intention of making him the starter eventually. And they waited for Matt to have the worst game he's had so far with the biggest mistake. And then what you wouldn't do if you really believed in Matt Turner was, after that mistake, pull him, drop him, because you'll kill his confidence. And as a goalkeeper, you're done. That's it. If this guy doesn't have a bad game or a string of bad games, you're not coming back in. So we're now going to have to live under the hopefully this doesn't happen. We're going to have to live under the expectation that Matt Turner might not get many more games for the rest of the season.
Turner wrote Horvath with Horvath.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the other thing that didn't help is Forrest played better with the other keeper, and the other keeper had a great game. And it's not like you're playing a midfield where, oh, I'm a midfielder, I'll just wait for one of the guys to get hurt out there, or I'll get the last 10 minutes of the game. No big deal. Or I'll get the last 15 minutes. There ain't no time sharing with a goalkeeper unless they get injured. So Matt Turner's in a big, big heap of trouble right now. And it's serious. It's serious. Which is it's disappointing for Matt. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be a trooper about it. But that just showed a lot of lack of confidence in Matt Turner. Or, as some people were saying, a bias that certain managers don't like American players. But I don't think so. I don't think that's what this is.
I think the whole thing was incredibly dumb to go out and purchase 2 would-be starter goalkeepers when you're forced. Getting 1 starter goalkeeper would have been probably the plan. And maybe the plan was they had their eyes on this guy, and maybe it wasn't going that way. And then all of a sudden he was open after they've already signed Turner. I don't know. I don't recall. But it seems stupid if you're Forrest and you've got other issues to deal with, that you go out and you spend that much money on getting 2 starter goalkeepers.
Well, that might have indicated, and we said it at the time, that maybe they don't trust Matt Turner that much. Or else why go out and waste more money on another keeper?
Why go out and waste the money on Turner then at that point?
Well, they got Turner first. So them going out and getting another one after they'd already signed Turner meant that, no, they weren't 100% that Turner was going to work out.
But that new signing wasn't that far off from when they signed Turner. So it's not like they got Turner, sat on him for about a month, 2 months, and like, oh, we got to get somebody else. The new signing came like a week or 2 after Turner signing.
About 2 weeks after, but still. They signed Turner.
Then that's
hold on. Sometimes you sign guys and you're like, he's a potential starter for us. But we don't know. So let's get 2 potential starters because one of them will work out. That's how I think Nottingham Forest thought it out. Now, they didn't tell Turner that when they signed him. So Turner got to start, probably as they promised him when they signed him. And now, like I said, this is a serious problem. Matt Turner's in a serious situation where it could be he gets only cup games and other bullshit games for the rest of the season. And there aren't a whole lot of those. It's Nottingham Forest people. So are they still in the FA Cup? I think they are. So it's trouble. It's trouble for Matt. And we'll see how that works out. By the way, Balogun had another sort of one of those games. I mean, he did score a goal, but it was called back. But he was sort of like, I want to say ghosting, but he didn't really get that involved in the game. They did win the game, but it wasn't because of him. So let's hope he bounces back as well. Better chance for him to do it because he starts every game. And he just got yanked the game before that. So kind of scary. Guy that didn't get enough attention for how he played this weekend, Leonard Maloney. Let's keep in mind, they beat a Stuttgart team that's in the top of the league, top of the table, not the top.
I think it's top 4. I think it's 4th.
I think they're 3rd or 4th, yeah. And they shut those motherfuckers out. And one of the reasons they shut those motherfuckers out was Leonard Maloney shut down midfield. So he should probably get some plaudits for that this weekend. If you haven't watched the game, you can go back and watch that one. I think if you're interested in who Leonard Maloney is, that's a good game to watch. That's what he's capable of doing, right? And he is a destroyer like Adams, so he's not going to be creating magical things on the field. But McKennie, we already talked about. Taylor Booth was in the 60, and he played 60, for Utrecht. I got to say, since the injury, he has not looked like himself. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's not fully fit yet, but he's just not kicking ass and taking names like he did when he got to Utrecht last season. He had a string of games last season. He was the best player on that fucking team. He's the only hope they had in the attack going down the right side. And now, I don't know if the other teams know that, so they kind of plan, like, we're just going to shut this dude down because they don't have anybody else. Maybe that's what they're doing. Anyhow, not impressive. Alex Mendez, your boy, went 20 for Rosella.
I think he's my boy.
I always say that when I talk to Alex Mendez. Anyhow, he's not a starter for Rosella, folks. If you still have high hopes for Mendez, this has been going on for a while now. He does get minutes, but he's no starter for Rosella, and that's saying something because they're not a good team. Bello went 90 in a win for last. Cardoso went 87 with an assist. The rumors, as you watch Tact has been saying, are true. Real Batiste is probably where he's headed.
It's unofficially official. They more or less said that it's already happened, but they can't announce it until window.
Well, the weird thing about that, and you're well aware of this, Brett, weird shit can happen.
True. Look at the Adams to Chelsea issue.
Yep. Johan Gomez, 20 for Braunschweig, who are close to the worst team into Bundesliga, and they lost again. I can't remember the last time they even got a tie. They're so bad. Yeah. And that's what happens when your team is named after liverwurst. Zendejas went 90 with another goal. He's on fire right now. So since Weah's going to be
November.
So when he plays in Weah's spot, let's hope he doesn't try to be a hero or play hero ball, just plays his role. And I think he'll do fine if he does that.
Do you think, I guess since we're talking about that whole spot anyways, do you think it's possible that we'll see more of the Paredes over Zendejas or even
it's possible. We haven't even got to Paredes, but if he continues to be a starter for Wolfsburg, I don't think he's going to continue to score goals at this rate, but he did score a goal.
Tough to do in the Bundesliga.
I mean, Paredes is making he's definitely making a case for himself. He's making a way better case than like Aronson is. Aronson. Yeah. Holy Jesus, the Aronson versus Aronson brother thing. All I had to do was watch the last 7 minutes of the game because that's all there was. And by then the game was fucking over because Union Berlin are straight up garbage, which is odd because they supposedly improved the roster from last year. But you know what? Sometimes when you do that and you get rid of a few players who were at least chemistry-wise what made your team fantastic, you lose that buzz. You lose that chemistry. Okay, so did they overperform last season with who they had? I don't know. Maybe. Probably.
They overperformed on how many goals they got, given the chances they were provided.
But you don't drop all the way down into the relegation zone the next season unless you got rid of some chemistry players that no longer play or start, or maybe it was PFOC. He was great in the locker room. I don't know. We don't know that, but something went seriously wrong since then. Remember, back then, at the beginning of the season, last season, the hot pairing was Becker and PFOC. And now Becker, he's not even the limelight center forward anymore. They play him out wide a lot. Behrens gets to start center forward spot. And I guess that's just not working out this season, is it? And certainly Aronson isn't helping at all. All right. Hilton went 71 for Dordek. Along with, Osundina was in the 18 for Dordek. He didn't play in a tie. This is a level down. Maurice Malone was in the 18 for Basel. When, after how well he did for Wolfsburger last year, scoring goals out his asshole, I thought Maurice Malone would go to fucking Switzerland and kick ass. He has not. Tim Riemann Jedi went 90 in that loss, and I already talked about this game because it is so obvious who they are missing, and that is Mitrovic. And I wouldn't have sold that fucker for any amount of money. Mm-hmm. None. You got to hold on to Mitrovic, man. He is, and so now we're watching Fulham drop down the table, getting closer. Now they're lucky because the bottom three teams are so garbage,
so bad
they won't get there. But
Luton's out of the bottom three.
Yeah, it's true. That's amazing. But Fulham should be fine. And in fact, they should have actually won this game. They outplayed Manchester United for the most part. And that goal at the very end was just extra time bullshit. If you're a Fulham fan, you're like, fuck that.
How many extra time minutes was there?
I don't even remember. I just remember saying, fuck this game. It's turning it off and going into another game. That's how much I was pissed about that. We already talked about
man, after the Qatar World Cup, man, I've noticed that a lot of the leagues have gone to significantly longer stoppage time.
Yeah, because they're doing so much VAR, dude. Like today's game was VAR-rific.
Yeah, I saw that like in the first 30 minutes, there's like 5 different VAR situations, 2 overturned goals, one card or something like that.
Some red cards.
Yeah,
they gave out through VAR. Yeah, dude, it went on forever. I can't even remember how much time they added at the end of the game, but it was significant. And yeah, that game got hampered by VAR, but also helped by VAR because they got all the decisions right for the most part. But Chelsea, man, just kicking ass today against Tottenham, which is not what a lot of people probably expected. But fuck Chelsea in the ass anyhow. I don't never like that team. Chris Richards went 4 to close out the game for Crystal Palace in a win. Austin Trusty played his ass off for Sheffield United. Best game he's had so far. Went 90 for the win, for their first win of the season. And I told you a couple weeks ago, I think Trusty's going to hold on to this spot in the middle of the 3, and he is. He's by far the best defender on that team right now.
Yeah.
That's saying something. That's saying what Sheffield United brought with them from the championship to the Premier League, which was not much.
Guess I need to, at this point, go back. I need to start watching more of their games.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that I know he'll be getting minutes.
Yeah,
to do so.
He's going to start every game from here out the rest of the season unless he gets injured. I only watched the highlights of this one, which is the Dwayne Holmes versus Haji Wright game. Preston North End against Coventry City. Saw Haji's 2 goals. They were both tap-ins, which you still got to be in the right place to do the tap-in. So got to give him credit for that. Dwayne Holmes' goal was more like Dwayne Holmes. Like he did it, right? But don't worry about Dwayne Holmes. Berhalter hates him, and he will never get called up again. So it's true. Well, yeah. I don't know if he hates, but Berhalter doesn't like people who yell back at him or tells him, I ain't fucking doing that, or fuck off, or that's not my position, and I'm not playing that position.
Yeah.
And that, I think it was Brian Schroeder who gave us that inside report on our show when we had him on our show a year ago or more now.
It's a little more, yeah.
And, yeah, so he reported, that in one of the practices, Holmes and Berhalter went at it verbally. And you know what happens when that happens. You don't get called up again. Just ask Brooks. Gooch got 10 for Stoke in a tie. Charlie Kellman got the last minute. Kind of weird all of a sudden. Young Charlie Kellman is starting to play for QPR. I mean, they got nothing to lose. Their team is the worst team in the championship. Reggie Cannon went 90 in that loss, by the way, for QPR. We already talked about Aaronson's, Peacock and Scally. Brooks getting a break, getting a breather, getting a rest. Apparently had a slight knock, not bad enough to keep him out of the 18, but just he played midweek, so they're giving him a little breather. It didn't help the team. Matarazzo and Hoffenheim fell this weekend. Reyna in the 18. Well, we already talked about. Fuck you, Terzic.
Just to talk about this briefly. You're down 2-0. You need goals. Why do you leave off one of your best offensive options?
Who just played, by the way, midweek and looked good.
Yeah.
Don't ask me.
Of course, they ended up losing 4. Kane had a hat trick, but
was it 4 or 5-0? It
was 4-0.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just you need goals. Now, obviously, once it's like 3-0 and 4-0, obviously, who the fuck cares at that point? Stay rested. Let's bring you back in next game. Blah blah blah. But they were at a point. They were down 2-0. You need goals. How do you make subs and not bring in your best offensive option?
Don't ask me.
Off the bench. I'm not saying that he's better than all the other offensive options on the field, but when you're bringing subs in, I don't know.
Hey, man, when you've got farts for brains, like Terzic, don't ask me. Musa went 81 in a loss to Udinese. And I tell you what, without Pulisic, that team looks like garbage. Total, like not looking like they can score at all. They look like shit.
I guess
and
good for Inter and good for Juve that front.
Yeah. So, I mean,
he'll be fit and ready for the Champions League game, though.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
But yeah, without him, they look toothless. And I don't care what people say about Leao. He has not impressed me one iota yet this season. He's a selfish player. He doesn't look for the open pass a lot of the times. He over dribbles. He tries too fucking hard, and he's not impressing me. And by far, Pulisic has outplayed him this season. I know people are going to be like, "Oh, that's blasphemy! Leao's one of the best players in the world." No, he's not.
The fans are saying some of the AC Milan fans are saying the same thing though.
I know.
God, I hope he's not out for too long. We're going to be missing him.
Yeah, but you get the occasional American fan will just think, oh, that's their team. And what I'm saying is blasphemy. Leao is one of the best players in the world. Well, prove it to me, motherfucker. I watch every AC Milan game this season.
Yeah.
And I have seen nothing so far. Spencer Doherty, thank you for the 669. I bet U.S. fans think this of Terzic's strategic thinking. The wheel is turning, but the hamster is dead. Not my joke originally. No, I mean, that's what it looks like to me. I don't even understand his subs and his rotation. I have no fucking clue. Yeah. It makes no sense to me. I mean, there are certain players that make sense to me, and I know why they're starting.
I've got Derek Hughes right here.
Dart?
Yep.
I mean, it looks like that sometimes.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Reyna, you're not playing today. Sorry, you happen to be the name in the balloon.
I mean, they've got some younger players that he doesn't play who probably went to Dortmund thinking, "Oh, I'm going to Dortmund because Dortmund plays young players."
Mm-hmm.
But they're not getting the time. They're getting bench minutes at best. I guess you could say at least Reyna got a start recently, but he got yanked at halftime.
I guess the big argument there is that you could simply say, well, he's getting results. I mean, they were one half away last season from winning Bundesliga. Shame that Reyna didn't start that match because he came in, got 2 assists, and almost scored the game winner.
Yep. Yeah.
But then here, you're looking at him. Dortmund's still in 3rd place. You're like, oh, he's getting the results. But then again, without him, Dortmund was always getting the results. But they'd always flame out because they're always kind of thin, in reserve. You get a couple injuries, you get exhausted, and you just sort of fall behind Bayern, the Bayern machine, if you will.
They look pretty thin this weekend. Really thin at midfield and in fucking the back four. All looked really thin. Like starvation thin. They got embarrassed by Bayern. Luca De La Torre's injured. Everybody's talking about, they'll do their report and they'll say Brian Reynolds went 90 for Westerlo. Well, guess what? There's another American playing for Westerlo, and he started too. His name is Griffin Yao. Can we start giving Griffin Yao some love? I don't know.
No, because he hasn't been called up to the U.S. national team.
Well, I mean, listen, they won the game, and both of them contributed in the reports I read. I did not watch that game, but they were pretty high notes for both. So can we pretend that Yao exists? Let's do that.
Well, I guess the issue is that I feel like when most people do their Yanks abroad report, they're looking at the people who are most likely going to be contributors to the team, who could be contributors. So then you even had Tack talked about last week. He's like, yeah, I haven't really been following Serie B, so I can't really talk about Venezia boys or Lund at this point. But I'll make it a point this next week to watch. And he did watch, and he did report on them this week.
Yeah,
I don't know if you watched the whole game or anything like that, but he did at least report on them.
Man, that game is not always on.
Yeah.
Serie B game on ESPN, right?
Yep.
It's like hit and miss. They pick like 1 or 2 games you can watch a weekend. That's it. No, the ones they pick are the ones you're going to have to live with. But Griffin Yao, we mentioned him the last report because it's somebody to keep an eye on. And he went from coming off the bench to now being a starter for this team. And if we're going to be talking about Brian Reynolds, I think we need to be talking about Griffin Yao as well. I mean, maybe not as a call-up or anything like that, but as long as we're talking about Brian Reynolds, and a lot of people out there still think Brian Reynolds should be considered for call-ups, then why not this guy? By the way, MLS, bunch of American guys contributing in the playoffs, by the way. Barlow for New York Red Bulls got a goal. Tolkin, by the way, missed a PK, so let's keep that in mind. If you're a Tolkin lover, that was a bad miss in the penalty kicks. Areola, of course, scored a goal. Got to bring that one up, right? Ferreira got a goal, a penalty kick goal for Dallas. And some people will say, see, he doesn't choke in the playoffs. And then Jordan Morris scored for Seattle. Just old names I wanted to bring back into the ether. McKenzie, not because I'm kidding. I'm kidding, people. Tessman has been Venezia's best player. His play has been on point. I'd say for the most of the season that would be true. That's
the last season and this entire season, yeah.
Right. That's why he plays the center midfield spot.
Wasn't he given the captain band? He's given the armband.
I can't confirm that. But I do know this. He plays in the middle of the three. So he's the most important player on that team when they play that setup. That means you're the guy distributing, right? You're the quarterback at the team if you want to get all football, NFL about it. McKenzie went 90 in a 3-2 loss to Antwerp. Sam Vines is still injured. Not a big shocker there. I just read a report on it. McKenzie apparently didn't look that good in the game. I guess if you're losing 3-2, you're probably not going to look very good. Malik Tillman went. This is the big game, right? This is the game I really enjoyed watching, was the PSV game. Maybe because it was high scoring, and I knew I was eventually going to get to at least watch 30 minutes of Pepi play. But Pepi got an assist, and that was a wonderful assist, by the way, and a goal.
I will say, Derek, unless you went back and must have watched it on replay, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you knew that you were going to at least get 30 minutes. I gotcha. Okay, because I was going to say, by the time Pepi and Tillman came in, PSV were only up 2-0.
I know.
Now, mind you, they've been playing a man up for half of a half.
Right.
So, I mean, Heracles is definitely going to be getting gassed out. But yeah, I mean, it's who would have thought that Pepi would have came in at when they were only up 2-0? Usually you have to be up at least 3 or 4-0 before he gets subbed in.
I know. I was shocked it was only 2-0 and he brought him in. But maybe they saw the writing on the wall and were like, yeah, we're going to win this game. Let's put Pepi in. Because Tillman's goal, by the way, was fucking great. Mm-hmm. And his passing was on point. And I think Malik might have just earned his way back into the starting 11. We'll find out next game. As for Dest, he is a starter. As soon as they knew they were going to win that game, they started pulling some guys out, some regular starters to rest, and probably for Champions League. And they pulled Dest out for a breather as well. Not because he was playing bad, because he was not playing bad at all. All three of them played really damn well. The assist was great from Pepi. The goal was more of a sort of a sitter. Like if he missed it, he would be, he'd be shamed.
He received it at the PK spot, had nobody around him. He had time to just sit there, turn, and then place a shot.
And blast it. Yeah.
Wasn't anything special by any means. But I much like I always tell, any of the kids that were training or coaching or whatever, a goal is a goal is a goal. I don't care if it's a 40-yard bomber or if it's an easy tap and it still counts as the same. So with Pepi's goal, nothing special. Still, you're going to see it on the score sheet and it's going to add his stats up later, and you're going to see at the end of the season, he scored X amount of goals. You're not going to recount how are the goals,
Right. I know, Striker. I know, Striker. All right, Mihailovic in the 18 for Aze. We've already harped on this. I'm not going to go into it anymore. He's going back to MLS with his tail tucked between his legs. What's the dog's name, Brett?
That's Falcor.
Falcor. What a cool name. He's stuffed. Jonathan Amon. Remember that guy? Went 67 for Lyngby. Soto did not dress for Klagenfurt. I might be injured. I don't know. This is the longest injury in the history of man, though. Busio went 90. Got the goal for the win for Venezia. The Venezia boys. Tessman went 90 as well. They are still at the top of the table. Things are looking good. They need to hang on to that. However, Lund went 80 for Palermo, and they lost. They're still at the top, near the top, but they can't be losing games like that. CCV 90 in a win, of course. He's plays for Celtic. Paredes, we already talked about, got that goal, went 84 and started. Conrad went 7 for Ibar. So I thought after his goal in the last game, they might start his ass, but nope, they didn't. He only got 7 minutes. Remember Novakovic? We lost track. He's at Lecce, which is also in Serie B. He
got transferred out?
Oh, yeah. He doesn't play for him. Yeah, they got rid of him. He's played 10 games and got 1 goal so far. Just an update on Andrea Novakovic. We already talked about Anthony Fontana. He doesn't actually play for Zwolle. He's just on the list of players they have. And Koleosho went 78 in a loss. I'm just going to keep talking about Koleosho, although I don't want anybody to get excited that he's going to play for us anytime soon. Because that may. Oh, Slonina, your boy, went 90 in a tie for Eupen. So that is the Yanks Abroad report. Oh my God. I'm feeling kind of stiff. Not in that area, just my body in general. So that's going to do it for the Yanks report.
I'm upset. We have a chat that has all the answers for everything when it comes to soccer, but you throw in a bit of 1980s pop culture in the name of the dog, and not a goddamn thing. I was the entire time ever saying it was Falcor. I'm looking at the chat, not a goddamn reference anywhere in there.
Well, I wouldn't get too disappointed. They're all waiting for our advice about your stepsister. Not your stepsister, but stepsisters in general. One of the things you could do to impress your stepsister coming forward here is take her to see the movie Napoleon. And I'm serious. It'll show her that you care about history and that you might be a pseudo-intellectual, right? The never-ending story.
That's it. No, that's the name. That's Falcor's, the giant white dog that.
Yeah, he looks a lot like him.
Rides. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Well done. That's, by the way, not a good movie. That is a good movie to rent with your stepsister when your parents were out of town, and then you got the freedom to do whatever you guys want to do without any worries, unless you got other brothers and sisters who are going to be like, "Ooh."
No. If you're going to rent a never-ending story, you don't want to rent the first one because you're going to be engrossed in that. You're going to be watching it. You're not going to be partaking in anything. You want to get Never-Ending Story 2, which is an absolutely worthless movie. That way you can partake.
No. What happens when you go to see a good movie together, it's an emotional experience that you both share. And that means after the movie, you guys are connected and then ready to get it on.
Okay, so usually when you say a Netflix and chill, you're not actually watching what's on the Netflix, if you will.
No, you want to get an emotional that emotional connection and have a shared experience. It brings people closer together. Then after that, man, all the doors are open. Just trust me on that one. All right.
Larry's got the movie for your stepsister there.
Bloodsport. Oh, my God. So take our advice on the movies with your stepsister. And again, make sure you do eventually have sit down in a conversation with the rest of the family when you feel like it's an appropriate time to do. And make sure there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. You're not real, siblings. Okay. We'll run to the nerds. Yeah.
If you want to get an emotional attachment with somebody watching that, you'll get that one. That one's classic.
Oh, yeah. That one's a real connector there. 127 hours. That's how long it takes to form a bond, or the movie?
The movie.
Okay.
How long it takes you to decide to cut off your arm with a Swiss Army.
Oh, yeah. That's what that movie was called? I didn't remember that.
Right? Am I thinking of the right movie, guys?
Well.
The guy when he gets trapped with the boulder on his arm?
I didn't think that was the name of that one.
Was that 127 hours?
You know what? It doesn't matter. Let's get off this goddamn broadcast. Until the next time on the Straight Right Card, thank you to everybody that's here. Don't forget to hit the like button or subscribe if you haven't already. And we will be back on Thursday with hopefully a review of Berhalter's roster. Okay, until then.
But she's a trap. young novel turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line, or a phone call with or without.
That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm
The articulate and intelligent.
Greg's a bitch. That's all.